It is going to be a little bit of an interesting video, and it's going to be on the topic of cause versus purpose. And this ties into the video that I recorded about how to get to what you actually want. And I'll make sure that there's like a little card in the top right corner for you to click on that if you haven't seen that. But it's really coming down to which one, when you make an action, is creating an emotional state. Is it the cause? So is it the reason for why you're here, the reason for what you're doing, the reason for how you're thinking, the reason for the actions that you're taking that is creating that state within you, that emotional state, that feeling state, that inner state, however you want to describe it, or is the purpose of that behavior creating that state? Which means, does the intention of that behavior generate the emotional state? Which means, even though you have a reason to do what you're doing or think how you're thinking or feel how you're feeling, are those reasons the actual reasons why what's happening is actually occurring? Or do you have an intention, even if it's an unconscious intention, to fulfill some kind of need or to fulfill some kind of goal with the behavior that you're undertaking or the thoughts that you're thinking or what you're feeling? So does the reason for a behavior perpetuate an emotional state, or does the intention of that behavior generate the emotional state? Right? Which is, I'm just essentially summarizing what I just said. So I'll say this: the way to actually serve yourself, and there is a lot of value in being able to dig and find out, okay, what events in your life have led to you thinking specific ways and feeling certain ways, because that's unquestionable. It's not like those things don't affect us. The past doesn't affect us at all. Of course it does, right? But after a certain point, it's really good to, especially if you're not where you want to be in life, where you're not where you want to be. So either as far as achievements, material achievements, inner achievement, relationship achievements, right? You get my point. So either you're not where you want to be personally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, professionally, with your relationships and what have you. So if you feel that way, it's good to understand why. But sometimes when you understand why, first of all, you're not sure if that's the real why, but also it can open up a lot of boxes that you don't know how to close. And I'm not saying that it's going to create justifications or reasons for you to do what you're doing. There is a possibility that that is going to happen. But also, number two is you're linking the past to the present, and as opposed to the future to the present, right? So it's like, what do you want to actually accomplish? Or what is your subconscious, who you are, quote unquote? What is that thing trying to accomplish with whatever it's doing? If it's doing nothing, it's doing nothing, right? If it's doing the wrong thing, it's doing the wrong things. If it's engaging in vices, as an example, that's just a part of you. That's not like the real part, who you want to be. This person who engages in vices all day and then goes nowhere, right? So the best thing that you can do is try to have a general understanding of why it happened. But the thing is, don't focus on the why in the past. The reason why is because it's very easy to feel crushed by guilt and to feel like you're the victim. Maybe you were a victim, right? If you're 8 years old and something happened to you, yeah, you're a victim for sure. But again, that's not going to help you as far as thinking that you're a victim now, or you are how you are now because of some person, because of something, right? That's not actually going to help you. It's going to create more rage, and it's very unlikely that you're going to be self-directed in a goal that you want to move. So first thing is first, watch my video entitled how to get what you are. Where is it? How to find out what you actually want, not what you say you want. Okay, so first of all, watch that video. Second of all, understand that the behavior, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, is probably fulfilling, and it's a little bit in line with that video, it's probably fulfilling some goal or some need that you have. So there is some kind of intention, even if it may not be conscious, it may be an unconscious intention, but it is there. So the best thing to do in this case is find a different purpose, right? Different intention, which means that you intend to behave in such a way. Now you have to actually make this conscious, which means that it's good to either say this out loud or write it down, right? You have to be able to bring things up to the surface, but also be able to record what arises. And the reason you have to be able to record what arises is because you can't juggle all those balls in the air. You have to actually like hold them, right? Look at them, put them down, right? Organize them, have a look at, because you can't just keep track of everything when thoughts are just like emerging and arising, and you're just kind of feel like you're being swayed here and there, right? It's good to organize your mind. And the way to do that properly is to take some time to actually think about these things, to write them down, to speak about them, especially to write them down. That's why everybody always says, write down your goals. And there are some people out there that say, oh, don't worry about goals, but you can't operate based off of an exception, right? Because there are some exceptions to the norm, where you're going to hear one person or maybe like one or two people say something, but because of some exceptions internal to them, they think that that's how everybody operates. Most people operate by actually being able to organize things, speaking, writing them down, making sure everything is intentional. So make sure that those things are intentional. So try to eliminate the why as far as the past, and linking that to why you're feeling and behaving and thinking the way you're thinking. And just ask yourself, what is this fulfilling currently? So my behavior currently, my emotions, my thoughts, what am I trying to do here? Or maybe not me consciously, but what is a part of me trying to do? What is it? What kind of needs am I trying to meet here? What kind of intention do I have? What is it that I, right, whatever some other part of me wants with what I'm doing? Okay, so it wants safety, it wants security, it wants comfort, it doesn't want to be bothered, it wants to be seen, it wants to be heard. Okay, now you have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing the optimal thing for those reasons that I'm specifying? For us, like that purpose, that intention? Because if it isn't, then you might have to consider changing your intention, changing your purpose. So once you change your intention, you're basically working from the future backwards, in a sense. That's what a lot of people describe all the time. Describe what you want your future to look like in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Companies do this as well, right? They have quarterly goals, they have monthly goals, and all of that is based off the yearly goal and so on. So it's the same thing, right? And it's the same thing I talk about in all my videos, almost all my videos, a lot of my videos, which is specify something. It can be vague, right? But typically that thing that you want to specify is not just the future, like a tangible future, which is great, but also principles, right? Your character, who you want to become. So then you have to ask yourself, okay, so I want to become this person. I want this life. What do I have to do now for me to get closer to that? What do I have to do now for me to get closer to that? Eliminate the judgment, because you're going to make mistakes and mess up every day. We're human. We all do that. So it's not going to help you if you make an error and then you kick yourself while you're down. We're trained to do that to ourselves because that's kind of how we were treated when we were younger by our, unknowing either parents or teachers or other peers. Society is inherently judging, especially if you're on social media and you're seeing this person who has like all of this attention or all these followers, and you're like, oh, why can't I get this attention? Then it's like, by you're looking at the world and you're kind of superimposing who you could be on like other people and other things, and you're perpetually dissatisfied because you're not them, right? I'm me, I'm doing what I do. If you look at my videos, I don't know of anybody else that does this type of stuff, but I'm just being me, right? So, and I'm doing that to the best of my ability, trying to, again, hone my character, my principles, treating my body like a temple, making sure I do the right things every day. So start small, right? So you got this future, 5 years, a year from now, whatever, right? So you think to yourself, and you don't have to scale back. Like, this is what I wanted 5 years, therefore this is what I have to do in 1 year, this is what I have to do in 6 months, this is what I have to do in 4 months, 3 months, 1 month. That could get a little bit too overwhelming. But just think about like today. What can I do today to make my life a little bit better and to move a little bit more towards that future that I'm specifying? Forgetting about what happened in the past, right? Temporarily, temporarily forget about the past. Uh, Only because only if it's not helping you, right? If it is kind of a motivating factor and you find yourself being actually very productive and inspired when you do that, and you're not too filled with like negative emotions, then that's not necessarily a bad thing. But just if you're ruminating on things, this is what you this video is really more relevant. If you feel like you don't know where you're going, you're not bothered by the past, or you're bothered by the past, and simultaneously you don't know where you're going, you're not getting quote unquote to where you want to get to. So you're not becoming who you want to become. And a lot of people don't frame it that way. They frame it of like just like achieving things. That's all fine. But what you really want to strive for is becoming a person, becoming like the person that you admire, becoming that ultimate person that you would admire. And there are religions, right? That people like aspire to be like Buddha, aspire to be like Jesus. Now, I'm not telling you to be spiritual or be religious, but what I'm saying is, if you're having a difficult time envisioning yourself in the future because you're at like a very low place, then a good thing that you can do is find out other people that you actually respect and that you admire, you look up to, not because of the material things they have. I'm going to stress this right now, because if you're looking at some celebrity and you're like, I want to be like this guy, I admire, this guy, he's so jacked and whatever, right? That's just one element of your existence, right? So go to the gym, but don't go to the gym at the detriment of everything else. And if this person is successful, you have to look at all aspects of this person's character. That's why I'm not a big fan of emulating people in the world. I don't like that. So I kind of want to take back what I said. I don't really like that. Don't do that. So think about yourself, right? Think about yourself and who you want to become, who you could be. Start listing all of those qualities out, like listing all that stuff out. You could read my article entitled, I have quite a few articles now. I have 4 articles, I think. So check out my articles, how to find out what you actually want, how to actually practice self-love. Right, those 2 are going to be really helpful. And by the way, the self-love thing, and its subtitle is "And Achieve All Your Goals." So it's very practical. In fact, there's nothing in there about self-love until like the very last section, how it kind of links everything together with eliminating kind of like judgment and criticism to the point where it would debilitate you. So I think that's the main takeaway here, is that if the past is somehow holding you down or not helping you, and you can't make sense of it and it's confusing, and you're not going anywhere right now, you're not really making any progress, you're dissatisfied with yourself, then instead of focusing on that, focus on, first of all, the things that I'm doing now. How is that fulfilling some kind of purpose? What is that purpose? And the best way to find that is to find out what you actually want. Watch that video, how to find out what you actually want. But a summary right now, if you don't want to watch that video, is the following. What you're doing right now is it's fulfilling some kind of set of needs, and it's fulfilling those needs to a greater degree than the needs that would be fulfilled had you done something else. Okay. And also you're deeming that what you're doing currently is less painful than your future state. So you're deeming the future more painful than what you're doing now. So you have to shift the balance, right? So what you're doing is kind of like more uncomfortable now, more painful, because what's going to happen in the future is you're going to get older, you're going to get closer to death, your body's going to deteriorate, your mind is going to deteriorate, you're going to have fewer opportunities, XYZ, right? So think about that for just a second and think about, okay, so if I want to use my years currently to do what I know I can do, what would those things be? Who would I want to become? And those things are going to be relevant, right? The articles, how to find out what you actually want, the video as well, and the article for the self-love thing, right? And I'll link all this stuff in the description. And then chart a pathway forward, right? So you're kind of describing that future, and then you're determining what you have to do in the present for you to have like a different purpose, a different intention that's more conscious of the things that you've written down and already organized. So I don't want to harp on this point any further. I think that was sufficient. So I'll leave it there. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have a comment, leave it down below. If you like the video, and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I'll see you next time.